doing up there?
I know it's a cliche, but this is picture postcard stuff. It's a very special view from here, as you say, almost eerie. All around the MCG, the streets and the homes are quiet, and yet there's this one mass of colour and noise and people lumped together at Australia's most famous sporting ground here in the very middle of Melbourne. Now, while all the traffic chaos of this morning is eased down on the ground, predictably, it's a bit like Swanston Street in rush hour up here. There's half a dozen aircraft hovering around, and while they know the rules of the skies and aren't a worry, the real hard-butters come when we go through the masses of balloons that they've just let off down there, and all you can hear is pop, pop, pop as they hit the tail rotors. So, Bruce, a wonderful sight, but I'll be very glad to get back down there with you.
Stay nice and safe. Dixie Marshall and the chopper. Alan Jeans will be tossing the coin today. Alan, who coached 553 games, second only to Jock Mahale. 4 premierships, the first at St Kilda in 1966, 3 with Hawthorn in 83, 86, 89, and he's with Normie Rowe, and Alan Jeans knows just what it's like to beat Collingwood in a grand final. He did it in 66, and what it's like to beat Essendon. He did that by a record margin in 1983. Peter McKenna, Ross Glendinning, who'll win?
Well, you don't have to ask me, Bruce. I think that Collingwood will win. I'm a little bit biased. My heart says Collingwood. I think they'll win, but not by a lot.
You agree? Okay, so Collingwood, the favourites up here. Collingwood with Ross Glendinning and also with Peter McKenna. Michael Robertson, Bernie Quinlan at ground level. Your selection, Michael?
Well, I'm going for Collingwood. I know that Essendon have got a lot of experience, but I think that Collingwood are going to be playing for a hell of a lot more. There are some excited young gentlemen in the Woods camp, and I'm going for Collingwood to win a pretty close one.
Yes, I'm also going for Collingwood, Bruce. I think it'll be much closer than the second semi-final. I think Essendon will be a lot more competitive, but the windy conditions I think will suit Collingwood. I think with their stronger players at ground level, Collingwood to win the big one.
Bernie Quinlan going for Collingwood. As we take a look at the season's meetings, Essendon beat Collingwood at the MCG in round 6, 101 to 75. We won't forget round 19 at Waverley, that live match in Melbourne, 13-6 to 11-12. But it was a 63-point margin to Collingwood in the second semi-final, 17-15 to 7-12. The last 6 teams that have won the second semi have gone on to win the premiership. The umpires today, Dennis Rich in his first grand final, and Rowan Saws, who will be officiating in his fourth. So the big news so far is that Shane Kerrison is stripped and will be playing for Collingwood today, and there doesn't seem to be any changes in the Essendon lineup. Kevin Sheedy, 2 premierships under his belt. He's played as a premiership player, of course, with Richmond. He was captain of that club. There's Kerrison. How excited must he be today, knowing that he's got the chance, maybe, to play in the first Collingwood premiership in 32 years. These players will be immortalised today if they can win. And as I said before, not one of them was born when Collingwood won that premiership in 1958. Lee Matthews has done everything there is possible in football. He was captain of Hawthorn when they won a premiership. He's played in premiership teams. He's been one of the greatest players of the game. Today he has a chance to coach a winning team. Tim Watson would love to lead Essendon to a victory. Terry Danaher did that in 1984 and 85. Time for the national anthem, Advance Australia Fair. Normie Rowe with the Victorian Children's Choir, the Australian national anthem.
Normie Rowe, together with the Victorian Children's Choir. Thank you.
Stage is set for what should be a memorable grand final. Our commentators today, Sandy Roberts and Ian Robertson. Special comments from Don Scott, and Sandy, Lee Matthews has already pulled the first surprise. Kerrison for Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Bruce, and good afternoon, everyone. Let's go down for the toss now. Alan Jeans Quite a moment for him, Tim Watson, and Tony Shaw and Michael Roberts.
He's put it in the air. It's landed on heads. I think Tim Watson has won the toss. He's going right of screen to the main scoreboard end.
So Essendon kicking to the right, Collingwood to the left, and as I welcome Ian Robertson and Don Scott to the microphone, Don, can you just explain the wind situation here at the MCG for this game?
Well, just looking at the paper, Sandy, that are now rising from the ground, it is very hard to predict which end is going to be favoured, because those pieces of paper are just fluttering in the breeze and really not going anywhere. So it's a swirly breeze. You can see there on screen, they're not really favouring any area. And because of the grandstand situation here, there is not much wind advantage at all.
Selections, Ian. Most of our gentlemen so far have chosen Collingwood. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm sticking with Essendon, Sandy. They played very well throughout the year and were only beaten by a maximum margin of 26 points, I think it was, by Melbourne earlier in the season. They finished at the end of the 22 games on top. They had a hiccup in the second semi-final here against Collingwood, and they certainly can improve on that performance, and I expect them to win by about 17 points.
And Don?
Well, I'm favouring Collingwood just. With the interest now, Sandy, as to who is going to line up on that interchange bench. We know that Richardson is not out there. Kerrison has come into the side, and for Essendon, Somerville, we can see him going off. His father played in a premiership side here against Collingwood. And also Spawn and Starcevic and Jamie Turner coming on for Collingwood. So Kerrison starting on the ground.
And now it's your turn, Sandy. Who are you tipping?
Collingwood by 5 points.
What a great atmosphere. I mean, if you can't get excited about this.
Some interesting matchups already. Cransberg on the wing on right. You can see there the feeling. Monkhurst, Anthony Danaher. We all remember back to last year, Yates ran through Brereton at the first bounce. So anything could happen.
100,000 people